It's 6:30 in the evening. You've just sat through an hour of traffic, scrounged together some dinner, and you pour yourself a drink while pondering on how to spend the rest of your night. You boot up your PC, and as you look through the shortcuts on your desktop, you notice a trend. Rows and rows of competitive multiplayer action, or games as service experiences. Games which demand your time, your energy, and most of all, your undivided attention. There's a problem though. You've just spent all of your attention at work. The last thing you want to do right now is get verbally assaulted by teammates in Rainbow Six. Even games designed for short sessions like Enter the Gungeon feel too action-packed and stressful. What you need is a vacation. Vacation from work, a vacation from the day-to-day. But most importantly, a vacation from the attention-hogging titles which have taken over gaming in 2018. No Man's Sky offers you an oasis. It serves as our unlikely metaphorical ship away from the grind of modern AAA gaming, but does so with a caveat. You must be able to set aside your preconceived notions of what it means to explore in a game. While not perfect, the 1.5 update for No Man's Sky, also known as Next, can provide a relaxing, curiosity-driven experience for players willing to put up with some of its quirks. With this in mind, and our bags packed, let us set our course to No Man's Sky. Survival games were the new hotness in the early 2010s after being made popular by the likes of DayZ and Minecraft. I've always enjoyed these types of games, but my typical lifestyle with them tends to be on the more volatile side of the spectrum. I go from never playing the game to immediately obsessed, seeking in more hours than I should be comfortable with a full-time job. The transition from being overwhelmed by the sheer depth of the game's systems to becoming a master of navigating the fan wiki is an enjoyable one for me, but I burn out big time. Typically, I never pick up these games again, as for me the learning process is the fun part. Once I have a general idea of how most of the game's system work, I tend to lose interest. Luckily for me, No Man's Sky Next has completely revamped many of the major systems and added additional mechanics within the game. For someone who likes the systems in these types of games, that's great news. Well, that's what I gathered at least. Having no context for what the original game was like, even after reading the patch notes, I have no frame in which to judge if the changes were actually to the benefit of my enjoyment of the game. I attempted to Google how to destroy terrain the day after the update dropped, and was met with pages of old information related to the game's prior versions. Without direction from the web, I decided to keep playing, and wouldn't you know it, an hour or so and one death later, I got a handy little mod for my mining gun. This mod was called the Terrain Modifier, which is exactly what I was looking for. The wiki has been slowly updating to match the current state of the game, but being just a week from launch at the time of writing this review, there were tons of new changes discovered each day if the subreddit is any source to go by. This lack of outside information forced me to play the game rather than spoil the surprise of what was waiting for me just an hour down the road. It was after several other unsuccessful Google attempts that No Man's Sky really began to click for me. It was just me. No guide, no auxiliary resources, me, alone in this universe. This is the headspace in which the game should be experienced. The game is at its absolute best when it's serving as the setting to your story. Yes, it's mechanically a survival game. You need these resources, and you gotta spend them to survive or build or what have you. But these mechanics are in place to provide a context for the player's exploration, not take their attention from it. Of the 4 difficulties, normal, creative, survival, and permadeath, I found the normal difficulty to be the right balance of relaxing and engaging. Planets I discovered were harsh enough to ensure that I was thinking through the supplies I needed before just haphazardly venturing out from my ship, but by providing plenty of resources on the surface, they didn't punish me for wanting to explore. And boy, did I want to explore. The procedural engine within No Man's Sky is the bread and butter of why I've been hooked. The variety of planets and appearance alone is outstanding. You got your swamp planets, your snow planets, your moon planets with low gravity, your paradise planets, your avatar planets, and oh yes, you've got your ring planets. The This doesn't even count the special planet types, which tend to be quite rare among the stars. I won't show them here as not to spoil the surprise, but they truly are unique within the universe of No Man's Sky. While I cannot be 100% sure, I believe I've taken more screenshots within this game than all other PC games I've ever played combined. I found it quite easy to step into the role of space tourist, as you might have guessed. Hell, just the satisfaction of knowing that I was someplace no one else had been before put a smug smile on my face. Well, that and uploading every discovery I made with some variation of the name Dingus. You will notice some patterns here and there, but in the 40 hours that I've put into the game so far, I found more than enough diversity in the universe to satisfy my inner Marco Polo. At most, you'll find a rock formation or a plant that looks similar to another one you've seen, but many times these have different materials together than the ones you've found before, or they'll be just slightly different in appearance. Should you bore of a system's planets, the next star is just a jump away, with planets becoming more and more varied as you get closer to the center of the galaxy. All this variety is amplified by the soundtrack, which is primarily composed by atmospheric rock band 65 Days of Static. Most songs start out ranging from brooding to curious, or have an airy sound which helps fill up the vacuum of space. They slowly build over the course of the track, culminating in the wall of sound which just ends up being timed with the player's action, adding emphasis to what they've found or accomplished. The soundtrack is not always present, which further strengthens the feeling of being alone as you travel through this vacuum of space, contemplating where to set your next course. That's not to say that I don't have complaints about the game. I played No Man's Sky on PC with a GTX 970 and a 1440p monitor. The performance is a mixed bag at best. Planet surfaces average anywhere from 35 to 45 FPS, with drops to 10 FPS if moving too far from where I landed. Flying into dark void of space garners unsurprisingly improved performance, with the game hanging around 70 FPS for me, unless I was entering the atmosphere of another planet or celestial body. There are performance tweaks and mods floating around, but none have significantly increased the game's performance on my hardware. In addition, while not necessarily a negative for myself, players who want a deep and difficult survival experience may be left disappointed. Survival difficulty does increase punishments for dying in the form of lost inventory and crashed ships, as well as increased costs with less resources available. These changes do make the experience harder, but with money as easy as it is to make on normal difficulty, only the first few hours feel like a true fight to survive. I found these changes to be more annoying than anything else, as they distracted me from exploration. Base building is also present, however, I spent only a little time with it, so I can't fully vouch for its depth. I did build several small structures without much hassle, but I had no real desire to stay there as I wanted to continue traveling among the stars. There are quests as well, however, apart from the main quest and the Atlas quest from a prior patch, missions are simple travel to a point, kill a thing, get a thing, or build a thing tasks. Without a doubt, the game would be more accessible and appealing to a broader audience if these areas see additional work, especially the performance issues. Yet, what No Man's Sky is offering and what they're selling, as we all know from launch, are wildly different things. I did not come to the game for a hardcore space survival sim. I did not come for a massive MMO. I came to No Man's Sky for vacation. No Man's Sky asks the player to take a break from the typical high-octane second-to-second madness of AAA games, in favor of providing the player a space to explore in relative peace. It fills this space with amazing landscapes to see, ships to explore with, and creatures to discover. Through its mechanics, music, and visuals, it allows the player room to breathe and encourages them to step back and reflect on where they are, where they've been, and where they have yet to go. It's far from a perfect game, and it's not going to suit everybody's tastes. But if you find yourself in a contemplative mood, seeking something a little slower paced, then a trip through No Man's Sky might just be what you're looking for.